Not aware of any apologies, but
All free.
all free. Thank you very much. Members, FM and DFM were scheduled to be with us today, but in view of the fact we're into an extraordinary plenary day, we thought it would be best to think about an alternative. And OFM, DFM have confirmed First Minister and Deputy First Minister are available to come to the committee on the 9th of March. So the session, therefore, has been postponed. FM and DFM had wanted to set the scene also for the Programme for Government update, which would have followed immediately after the ministerial briefing today. So again, that has been postponed. At page 5 is an invitation to me as chair from the Consul General of the People's Republic of China to attend the Grand Chinese New Year Showcase of 2016. Members, I actually cannot attend that because of diary commitments. So open to offers. Just remind me, Kathy, I don't have the pack up. What?
It's on a Sunday, the 21st of February.
Yeah.
In the Ulster Hall. At 2:45.
Anybody? Should we scan it and email it round?
Okay.
And that would be then a first come, first served if somebody wants to go.
Yep.
Okay. Can I draw your attention to page 6, members? And it is correspondence from a group called Regenerate. They're Portadown based, and they've been doing some work in terms of flags and bonfires, and they would like to brief us. I should declare I have already had a short meeting with them on a party political basis, and they seem to be doing some good work in terms of public displays of flags and also bonfires. Are members content that we schedule a briefing? Okay, thank you. Page 7, an invitation from the department to a reunion event for all the young people who took part in the Summer Camps pilot programme in 15-16. It's Saturday the 13th in W5 in the SSE Arena. Could you please respond directly using the registration form on page 9 if you want to go? Page 10, an invitation from the Department of Employment and Learning. This is to an event to celebrate, recognise and showcase the achievements of the United Youth Pilots. That's Titanic Belfast on Tuesday the 1st of March. Again, please contact the organisers directly. Then entabled at page 6, correspondence requesting an opportunity for the evaluators of the Victims and Survivors Strategy, which runs through to 2019, to engage with us. I understand this would be on a more informal basis than a formal committee setting. If members are content, we can set up an informal meeting with these evaluators, and then all members will be informed and welcome to attend. Content with that approach? Thank you. Current invitations are listed on page 11. In the absence of comment, members, on Monday, staff emailed members with regard to correspondence from the European Scrutiny Committee seeking permission to forward our recent correspondence on the EU Equal Treatment Directive to the Minister for Equalities in London, and a copy of that correspondence is in tabled papers at page 3. Can I also confirm members are content that the correspondence is included as an annex to a report on the directive by that Westminster Committee? Are content? Okay, thank you. Next time, draft minutes. The draft minutes of the meeting held on the 27th of January begin at page 13, and the question as ever is, are members content to agree the draft minutes of the meeting of 27th January? Thank you. Page 8 of tabled is a draft press release to mark the final stage of the NIPSO bill in plenary. It says later today here, later today stroke tomorrow.
Chair, actually, I was just going to make that point, subject obviously to agreement by the committee of the rest of the press release. There might be an amendment to that. It might be issued tomorrow, and it might say it passed its final stage tomorrow or yesterday, depending on what time the debate is at today.
Yeah. Any comments on the?
I have to think about that one.
In the absence of comment, are members content the press release is issued following the final stage of the bill with that potential amendment on clarifying when it happened? Thank you. 2nd of July last year, members, we noted correspondence from Amnesty International and Survivors and Victims of Institutional Abuse, or SAVIA, outlining proposed ways forward on the issues of redress for the victims of historical institutional child abuse, and also concerns about the position in respect of those who continue to fall out with the remit of the current HIA inquiry. Amnesty and SAVIA had also requested to brief the committee on these issues, and we agreed to ask the department for comment on that correspondence, and we agreed to wait until a response had been received before making our minds up about whether to invite the two groups to brief the committee. Well, we have a response. It's at page 20 of your main packs. And once again, it takes us back towards the options papers. And the final paragraph on the second page of the response says it's Minister's intention to share the options papers with this committee after they've been shared with executive colleagues for a decision on the way forward. But I think we are reading that as they're still going to share once they've shared with executive colleagues, rather than once executive colleagues have made their decision on the way forward. But of course, members, we had been given to understand that the options paper would go to executive colleagues in January, and then therefore would be with us by the end of last month.
No, there's an executive meeting this morning. Perhaps we could get some information to see whether it was discussed then and whether that could be then to us.
How do members feel about Amnesty and SAVIA? They are obviously very keen to get back round the table with us.
Yeah. What's the time frame? What we're looking at, a week, a couple of weeks or something like that, maybe, or something?
Our forward work programme is on page 278. 278.
2nd of March is probably.
Yeah, 2nd of March with two TBCs in terms of the two briefings.
One's a written briefing, so.
And one's a written briefing.
Yep.
So we've only one oral briefing on childcare strategy, and that's not confirmed. So, and that gives us a couple of weeks. Members content? I think that's a very sensible suggestion. We offer them 2nd of March. Okay, thank you. Last meeting a fortnight ago, members, we noted a letter from the Chief Exec of Public Achievement to ourselves requesting a meeting regarding the T-Buck strategy, and we did agree to arrange an informal meeting. Although subject to confirmation from Public Achievement, we have tentatively arranged that for 1 o'clock in room 216 on...
Oh, I beg your pardon, it's 17th.
the 17th of February.
It's next week, immediately before next week's meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's right. So it's 1 o'clock next Wednesday in 216. And the list of outstanding correspondence is next up, begins at page 31. In the absence of comments, members, the summary sheet detailing correspondence received since we last met is at page 35. And I'm going to ask Kathy to talk us through those which she thinks we need to pay particular attention to. Please.
Thanks, Chair. The first item is at page 37 from the All-Party Group on Visual Impairment with regard to the disability strategy, and it's just to check if members wish to forward that correspondence on to the department for comment. That's okay. Mm-hmm. Just to draw members' attention to the annual report for the MLK and Commissioner for Older People. They're 115 and 117 respectively in the pack. The hard copy of each of those reports is available in the committee office should any member wish to see them. Moving on to page 125, there's correspondence from the Assembly's EU Affairs Manager regarding the UK engagement with devolved administrations on the EU negotiation. The UK Government has indicated that the Minister for Europe hopes to visit Northern Ireland in the near future. And I just wish to check if members wish to invite the Minister for Europe, the Right Honourable David Lidington, to brief the committee, if he's available.
Be useful, yeah.
Yeah? Yep.
There's correspondence from the department regarding an evaluation of the T-Buck Cross Community Youth Sports Programme pilot project at page 162 in the pack, and our members' content for that to be forwarded to the Committee for Culture, Arts and Leisure for information. And finally, just to draw members' attention at page 259 to correspondence from the Human Rights Commission regarding the draft strategic plan. And just to say, if members wish to comment, they could comment directly to the Commission.
Excellent. Cathy, thank you very much indeed. If there's no other comment or correspondence, members, I will return to page 278 and that draft forward work programme. So we have a ministerial briefing now rescheduled to the 9th of March and the week before in the 2nd, if they're available, Savia and Amnesty International. In the absence of comment, are members content with that proposed forward work programme subject to those amendments? Thank you. So, item 7, just to confirm, has been rescheduled. There is no briefing by First Minister and Deputy First Minister, and the same applies to item 8, the programme for government commitments review. So we move on to subordinate legislation. At the last meeting, on the 27th of January, we heard from departmental officials on the proposed transfer of functions order, along with the corresponding SL1, and it was agreed we should reconsider those proposals today. So the purpose of this session is to reach a committee view on the proposed order, and we've been asked to convey views to the department by the 12th of February, so this is basically deadline day. The clerk's brief is at page 292. The SL1 briefing paper at 298, the actual order at page 305, and correspondence from OFMDFM at page 330. Responses received from committees begin at page 333, and responses from arm's length bodies begin at 360. I also need to refer you members to your table papers. You'll find a response there from the Commissioner for Older People at page 12, and from the Committee for Culture, Arts and Leisure at 15. To try and summarise all that for you, for the most part it appears committees are generally content with the alignment of the functions. Some concerns raised in relation to the relative weight that may be given to some functions within the new departments, particularly from environment. Similarly, a risk of a diminished voice, although recognising that there may also be some opportunities in terms of funding, and that's the CAL committee. Some concerns about organisational structure of the new department. That's from Employment and Learning on page 294 of your main pack. A concern about the emphasis on education for employment rather than for any wider benefits, again coming from the Employment and Learning Committee. The Regional Development Committee had some concern about the transfer of Crumlin Road and St Lucia, the ex-MOD site. And there was also, particularly from Nikki, the Children and Young Persons Commission, about the independence of arm's length bodies, and we discussed Paris principles with officials, you will recall. Both the Committee for Enterprise, Trade and Investment and the Committee for Social Development are content with the transfer of employment services to the Department for Communities, while the Employment and Learning Committee has asked this committee to take the Orchardville Society's comments into consideration when we look at this order. Although, as we heard from officials, they didn't seem to think that Orchardville would be in any way disadvantaged through the transfer of functions. They would still have the right to apply for funding. So, any specific or general comments, members?
Just think, Chair, that whenever you're moving so many functions around, there will always be views that perhaps something would be better placed somewhere else. But I think reading through the comments, it makes people agree broadly that things are in the right place. There may be some concerns. I think agriculture and environment together. There was a comment raised in relation to are these two in conflict? But I think overall it's getting to where we want to be, which is fewer departments and functions joined up in a better way, and I think that's what we have.
Yeah, I must say that the public event we were at last week, Alex, down at Stormont Hotel, public policy, was it? Or?
Policy forum, yeah.
Policy forum. In the session I chaired, there was some concern about the size of the Department of Communities, but I mean, that's a legitimate concern, but until we see.
That's right. I mean, it's transfer of functions, so how they're operated and how they're enabled to discharge their functions properly, and the various units and organisations involved. And I think we all know that when you want to change a number of departments and reconfigure all that, there'll be all sorts of chops and changes. So,
Yeah.
and every one of us could be making arguments for something to transfer somewhere else, and we could even be right, but
Yeah.
you have to settle on something ultimately. So I think it's just support the
Well,
the
are we,
order.
I'm proposing then that we just forward these concerns as a batch
Sure.
for their information.
And I think it's important that you can acknowledge that people have made concerns, some have been addressed, some maybe not necessarily so, but most people I've spoken to have just had fears
Yes.
that with the
Concerns.
transfer from one to another that might lessen or diminish their own roles and responsibilities. That I think we just have to work through all that, make sure it doesn't happen.
So we're noting not endorsing these concerns and passing them to the department. Could I was also, I think last time saying that the one recommendation I thought we might be able to find consensus on was an ex post review, 6 months down the line to have. Is it a programme board? There is a board looking at it, and we would formally recommend that they do a short, focused, formal review 6 months down the line into how things are working, to see if any of these concerns actually have legs in reality.
Certainly.
I've no problem with that. I just wonder how, if 6 months gives people, I think there will always be a few perhaps betting in difficulties, whatever. But yeah, I'm more than happy with. I think it is important that there's a review of some sort.
Yeah, I think.
It wouldn't necessarily take you back to the start and say, right, after 6 months, right, we need to move this all around again. But perhaps it would find were there any potential snags or whether any small steps can be taken.
My point would be if there is a kind of serious glitch that we haven't anticipated, it should appear within 6 months. And the rest of it is bedding in, and that could take a couple of years, and that's fine. That's what the board's there to do. But if there's if we've missed a banana skin, that should become evident quite quickly. Okay, appreciate it, members.
A bit of comfort, I suppose, to people who are expressing their concerns.
So we're okay, and we're content with the proposal to make the order. So, European Issues members, in November we began our process of coordinating the annual report on the Assembly Committee European Priorities. Assembly Research gave us analysis of the forthcoming European Commission work programme. We sent that to all the other statutory committees, that is, to seek their views on priorities for Euro activity in 2016. The committees were also asked to give us a summary of their activity in 2015. We also sought views from the Department, from our 3 MEPs, from the Committee of the Regions and the European Economic and Social Committee. So, if you go to page 364 in your packs, you'll find a draft of our report on Assembly Committee European Priorities for 2016, and that's followed by submissions from the statutory committees, from Jim Nicholson MEP, Jane Morris on behalf of the European Economic and Social Committee, and also response from the Department. So we have to go through this to approve our report formally, members. So if you're content to begin, I'm going to ask you if you have any comments on the report, pages 370 to 373. And if not, a formal question, are members content to agree this report?
Yep.
Okay. Are members then content with the membership and powers listed on pages 366 and 367? Yes, thank you. Are we content with the introduction, which is on pages 370 to 371? Thank you. Are we content with the Committee EU priorities, pages 371 to 373? Thank you. Content with the list of appendices to be included at page 373?
Yes.
Thank you. Content that editorial amendments be made to the list of abbreviations on pages 368 to 369, subject to a proofread by officials of the report. Yep. Are members content that links to the report's appendices be created on the committee's webpage to include a link to the full report, a link to relevant extracts of the minutes of proceedings, a link to the written submissions, and a link to the research papers? Thank you. Our members agreed that this report be the 16th report of the Committee of the Office of the First Minister and Deputy First Minister to the Assembly. Yes, thank you. And are members content to publish this report? Thank you. Members, the committee would normally table a motion for a plenary. However, it's not a requirement, and given the time pressure, I think we've already reached agreement on our way forward on that. So we are content, I think. So the final question, members, is: are members content that the clerk makes the necessary editorial amendment to remove paragraph 9 on page 371 of the report, which is the reference to seeking the permission to hold a debate on the report? Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other business, members? If not, in just under half an hour, we adjourn to Wednesday the 17th at 2 p.m. here in room 30, although at 1 o'clock
Yes.
we have the public achievement informal brief. Meeting adjourned, thank you.
Northern Ireland Assembly Committee Room 30. This is the